Hello, welcome to Larta Oasis, a 10-acre smallholding in the east of England.
10 acres that is slowly being rewilded and will eventually be left to a local wildlife trust, providing a home for nature and wildlife in perpetuity.
We always look forward to welcoming the swallows back in spring after their long journey from southern Africa where they spend winter. Their migration, their journey is quite a story.
Swallows migrate from southern Africa to the UK for the summer, a journey of roughly 6,000 miles. They leave their wintering grounds in southern Africa, which can be as far south as the Cape, in February or March. The journey involves flying north across Africa, the Sahara Desert and Europe, a perilous trip for the small birds. In a poor year, only 1 in 3 will make it to the UK from southern Africa. The journey to the UK can take around 6 weeks, involving approximately 200 miles of flying per day at about 17 to 20 miles per hour. Swallows typically fly at altitudes between 200 and 1500 metres, that's about 650 to 4,900 feet. However, they can also be found flying much higher when taking advantage of thermals, rising air currents to conserve energy. They arrive in the UK in late March or early April to breed, taking advantage of the UK's warm, wet summer and abundant insect life for food. Swallows are aerial insectivores, feeding on flying insects while in flight. They are known for their agile and graceful flight, often seen flying low over fields and water, snatching insects on the wing. Most swallows leave the UK in September, though some may stay until October. Swallows gather in large flocks before both their spring and autumn migrations. They congregate in roosts, often on overhead wires or in reed beds, before heading south for the winter and again before returning north in spring. These gatherings are thought to offer benefits like increased protection from predators. They migrate back to southern Africa, travelling through western France and eastern Spain, then across Morocco, the Sahara Desert and the Congo rainforest before reaching their destination. Swallows migrate to avoid the harsh winter conditions and lack of insects in the UK, as they rely on flying insects for food. Once again, it is a perilous journey. Only a fraction of swallows that leave the UK survive the journey, with estimates suggesting that only 1 in 5 swallows make it to southern Africa. The lower rate of only 1 in 5 survives the trip to Africa is probably, or at least potentially, due to high numbers of inexperienced young taking the journey for the first time. On both migrations, they are vulnerable to predators, weather conditions and exhaustion. The mortality rate is high, and this stark statistic highlights the hugely dangerous undertaking of migration as a species survival strategy. Nonetheless, a successful strategy for swallows, as they have existed for over 13 million years.
Barn swallows have a breeding cycle that typically spans from late spring to late summer. They form pairs, build nests, lay eggs, incubate them and raise their young, often producing multiple broods in a season.
Having arrived back successfully, they began their first nesting attempt of the season. Swallows construct nests from mud pellets, often mixed with grass, hair and feathers. Their nests are usually attached to structures. Female swallows lay 3 to 5 creamy or pinkish white eggs, speckled reddish brown. Incubation, primarily by the female, lasts for about 2 weeks.
Both parents participate in feeding the young after hatching and keeping the nest clean, as do fledged young from previous broods on occasions.
Young swallows leave the nest after about 3 weeks. They may continue to be fed by their parents for a few weeks after fledging. Things were going well, with 4 swallow chicks developing nicely, close to fledging. Then, disaster. The nest collapsed. We don't know why, it sometimes happens. 2 chicks survived, but unfortunately 2 perished. It was very sad. The 2 that survived grew stronger. Swallows tend to have multiple broods. Weather conditions meant mud wasn't readily available close by to rebuild a new nest from scratch. Perhaps mud from the banks of Newt Pond could offer a supply. Here is the dilemma. Do we leave the swallows to get on with it, either rebuild a new nest or abandon any future nesting attempts for the remainder of the season, or do we help and install a purpose-built artificial swallow nesting cup made of stonecrete and ply? Time was of the essence, as we didn't think the swallows would hang around should they choose to abandon. No time to buy and wait for delivery, but we did have two already installed a number of years ago in the barn at Larton Oasis, one used by pied wagtails and one that had never been used. Decision made, take down the unused swallow cup and install at home immediately. Job done. Just as we were hoping and waiting to see if the swallows would take advantage, a pied wagtail family started spending time in the paddock next to the stable. Would they beat the swallows to the cup for their second brood? We kept checking the cup from a distance, and within a couple of days we could see nesting material poking out of the cup. Straw, hairs from Coby's mane, and some feathers. But were they put there by the swallows or wagtails? And then the male swallow appeared at the cup to feed the female who was sitting on the second brood. Question answered. 4 chicks have hatched. It's time for a continuing supply of food on an industrial scale. But this time they had help from one of the survivors from the first brood.
We wonder which one of the 2 survivors from the first brood are helping their parents. You can hear me in the background cleaning up after Coby in his stable.
Notice the lack of tail streamers on the juvenile when compared to the long tail streamers of the adults.
That is a quick tell who is at the nest.
Whatever you need me to be.
It is a constant coming and going, a steady stream of insect supplies for the insatiable youngsters. Their wide open gapes and calls are a never-ending stimulus to the parents, a powerful message to the parents that a short window exists between now and fledging.
The main predator of the swallow is the hobby.
The hobby is a migratory bird of prey similar in size to a kestrel. It joins us for summer from Africa before returning in the autumn. They have a short tail and long pointed wings. When flying, they quite often look crescent-shaped. Hobbies have been likened to a large swift when flying. We both think this is a good description. We see them here quite often.
They have distinctive red thighs and undertail and are similar to the peregrine falcon facially, with a black moustache. Habitats where hobbies can be seen in the UK include farmland and marshes. They use old nests to breed in, such as old crow nests. They feed on large insects such as dragonflies, and they will also catch and eat bats and birds like swallows, swifts and martins, as hobbies can match their aerial acrobatic skills.
One of the 2 survivors are helping the adults feed the fresh brood. Not sure what has happened to its sibling. Perhaps they feel the need to get stronger. Perhaps they just don't have the parenting instinct yet. Perhaps the local hobby has been successful. Who knows? We really hope that somewhere the little one is doing well after such a challenging start.
A constant flow of protein-rich food is needed to enable rapid development for their offspring. The work rate is phenomenal. It is very entertaining to watch their aerial assaults over the local fields. High, low, climb, swoop, turn left, flank right. Mouthful of insects, return to the nest, return to the youngster's demands of feed me. Then back out for another sortie, more aerial acrobatics with their radar-seeking flying insects, and their sensors locked on to finding prey, whilst at the same time avoiding detection and predation, on perpetual lookout for the hobby. The swallow chicks undergo a rapid development process from hatching to fledging, typically within a period of 18 to 24 days. Initially, hatchlings are artificial, meaning they are helpless, naked and have closed eyes with just a few downy feathers on the head and back. they are unable to raise their heads. They develop quickly. Flight feathers, that's wing and tail feathers, begin to emerge from sheaths, looking like quills at first. Eyes opened, and there is a notable increase in size and weight in a relatively short time frame. By about day 15 or 16, bodies are fully feathered. The accuracy of honing in on the demanding gapes and delivering the insect package is impressive, especially as sometimes it is done almost without stopping. Flying in, approach the nest, select which gape to aim for, inject the food parcel into chosen gape, turn and fly out in time to leave space for the next delivery. Bird chicks produce fecal sacs, which are essentially membranous diapers that contain their waste, usually white or clear in colour. These sacs allow parent birds to easily remove and dispose of their faeces, keeping the nest clean. The parents may either carry the sacs away to discard them or consume them if they are from very young chicks. The parents are likely to gain nutrients and energy by their consumption. Sometimes the chicks can't wait and expel the sacs from the nest themselves, to the detriment of some of Coby's hay. A small rent to pay.
The chicks learn fast. As soon as they sense an approach, their heads are above the parapet, gapes open wide, demanding attention. The arriving parent can't resist. The adult birds are forever goaded into getting more food. We can see them now and then taking a brief respite in a nearby dead tree, the youngster preferring to take a break from feeding duties by joining their siblings in the nest for a brief period.
As the chicks develop, and it is a rapid growth, they start to stretch and flap their wings, exercising their muscles in preparation for flight. By the time they are ready to leave the nest, they are fully feathered and capable of flight. Chicks fledge leave the nest at around 18 to 24 days old.
The second brood at home fledged on the day Storm Florus arrived.
Parents may continue to feed the young for a short period after fledging, sometimes even passing food to them while they are airborne.
Chicks may return to the nest for a short time after fledging, especially at night, before leaving for good. If the nest is not there, as was the case with the first brood, they still returned to the cover and shelter of the stable for some time.
Even after fledging, young swallows may stay with their parents for a period of time to prepare for migration as well as help with subsequent broods. Having fledged, the young swallows will spend time near the nest, learning to fly and develop their hunting skills.
Flying is not for the faint-hearted. It takes an awful lot of energy. It has been likened to running a marathon.
While not a perfect analogy, there are similarities. Both involve sustained physical effort and can require significant energy expenditure. Flying and running require sustained effort over an extended period. Birds, like marathon runners, need to build up stamina and endurance for long flights. Their physiology has evolved to best provide ways to cope, ways to perform at such a high level. Flying requires lots of oxygen. Birds have a system of interconnected air sacs that extend throughout their bodies, including into some of their bones. These air sacs are thin-walled and expandable. This unique system allows for a continuous flow of air through their lungs, maximising oxygen uptake and enabling efficient breathing, especially during flight. Once they are more proficient at flying and foraging, they will disperse from the nest area, joining other swallows. They will grow stronger each day and at some point will start to explore their surroundings, committing to memory, landmarks to recall and hone in on if and when they return next year.
Will there be a third brood?
Swallows typically return to the same general area each year to breed, and many will even reuse the same nest. Building a new nest requires a lot of time and effort, so reusing an existing one is more efficient. Returning to the same area and nest allows them to quickly establish a territory and begin breeding. To that end, we have installed a number of swallow cups at Larter Oasis and another at home to lend a helping hand. The fledglings will eventually join their family and undertake their first migration.
Will we ever see any of them again? We would love to see them next spring. However, we will never know if it is them. It will be forever a mystery. All we can really do is wish them well.
Sad, perhaps, but if you can truly embrace the spirit of nature, you can see, indeed feel, its beauty, its comfort, its inner peace.
Let the good times roll.
Thanks for watching.
Take care.
Bye for now.
Bye.